it's going up, so I can, because if we do cloud and hard drive, we've got double copying. It's good for the future.
Okay.
All
right. So somebody mentally prepare yourself to take the next page and assertively unmute. All right. Then I find that chanting the holy name gives me new encouragement, a new prospect, and new hope. Whatever we want, whatever is our internal demand, it is supplied by the name. If we take the name, all our internal hankerings will be fulfilled. It is eternal. It is the purest of the pure, and it is full of ecstasy. Now I find I have been completely converted. Now my innermost hankering is this: let whatever is against this sweet name vanish eternally from the world. If anything is in opposition to this sweet life, let it vanish, and if necessary, I will give my life to make it disappear from the world forever. Then others will be able to enjoy it at their free will. No hindrance should come to that fulfillment of life. It has no other second. So, everyone may come here, and if necessary, I will sacrifice myself to finish any opposition, so that all can smoothly, peacefully, and without any danger enjoy this absolute, sweet, and blissful life. This is the statement of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the final song of his book, Sharanagati, Surrender.
Awesome.
I think
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So the opposition to the opposition, Srila Maharaj said that this is a phenomena that that in the path, Swami Maharaj Prabhupada expressed. He says, if you're not doing anything, you won't have any critics. So Srila Maharaj said that in the Mayak plane, wherever there is attempt in development and consciousness, the agents of Maya will try to show some resistance. So this is called the conception of thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis. So this is always the way. To Christ, there was Judas, there was Caesar, there was the Pharisee. So many saw him as a threat to the modus operandi, to the conception of the status quo. So he came to establish truth, reality, the beautiful. And then, of course, those who were playing with the power wanted to suppress. And ultimately, we saw that they attempted to place him to the cross. But, of course, he's backed by the higher agent. So he came down and ascended and so many things, in the Christian history. So Haridas Thakur, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur is expressing that whatever is in opposition, he's willing to sacrifice himself, that nature, because they know, these great masters, that this Mahamantra will reset the earth back to the Garden of Eden. That's true. That's true. Gurudev predicted that. One time in India, we were there talking about the future, World War III, World War IV, and he goes, no, if there's enough movement in consciousness, we can again come into a golden age within the Kali Yuga. So this is the hope, the bright hope. So, Hare Krishna.
Madhuranita, it sounded like you were jumping in. Was that too rude?
Yes.
Oh,
Okay. Reality the Beautiful. Ramananda Roy was a married man, but he was recognized by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a master of his senses to the extreme degree. Once a Brahmana priest named Pradyumna Mishra came to Mahaprabhu and told him, I would like to hear about Krishna from your lips. Mahaprabhu said, I do not know anything about Krishna, but Ramananda Roy knows. Go to him and hear about Krishna. Take my name, and perhaps he will talk with you. Pradyumna Mishra was hesitant, but he went and observed Ramananda Roy for some time and then returned and reported to Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu asked him, have you heard about Krishna from Ramananda? No. Why? I saw him engage in something objectionable. I watched for some time and then returned here. What did you see? Pradyumna Mishra answered, I saw Ramananda Roy training some young dancing girls. Girls who are generally devoted to the service of the Jagannath deity from a young age are known as Deva Dasis. They do not marry, and sometimes their character is not very good. Pradyumna Mishra saw Ramananda Roy training Deva Dasis in a very objectionable way. He was showing them how to go before the Jagannath deity and dance and sing. He showed them how their posture should be, how they should gesture, and how their look should be enticing. And for such training, he would sometimes even touch their private parts. So Pradyumna Mishra told Mahaprabhu, seeing Ramananda doing all these things, I had no regard for him. So for some time, I saw him busily engaged in that matter, and then I went away. Master of the senses, Mahaprabhu told him, don't underestimate Ramananda Roy. He's the master of his senses. There's not a tinge of craft in him. Even I feel trouble from sense disturbance within me, but Ramananda has no such trouble. We have no direct experience that a stage can be obtained where it is possible to be above mundane sense pleasure. But we have only heard through the scriptures that there is a stage when a man may transcend all these gross attachments. This is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-39. Maharaj, would you like to do the honors of?
Vikriditam Brajavadhu Bir Idam Cha Vishnu Shradhan Vito Nishvrinu Yad Atavanayatya Bhaktim Param Bhagavati Pratilapya Kamam Hridrogam Ashvayapi Hanoti Acharena Tiraha.
One who hears with firm faith the supramundane amorous affairs of Lord Krishna and the gopis, as described by a pure devotee of the Lord, soon becomes freed from mundane lust and achieves divine love of Krishna. One may be engaged bodily in such activities while his heart is elsewhere. And there is only one who is of that type, Ramananda Roy. There are not big numbers of Ramanandas. There is only one Ramananda who has acquired such a stage because he is well versed in the kind of sentiment and realization which is necessary for the service of Krishna and the gopis. His heart is completely dedicated to the cause of Krishna. He has no selfish interest. He's always in Krishna consciousness, and whatever he does is for Krishna's satisfaction. So don't think ill of him. Go there again.
So just a quick reflection. So in Jagannath Puri, if you ever go to India, it's a famous city in Orissa. The whole city is surrounded by a great temple called the Jagannath Temple. And there, that temple was established hundreds, thousands of years ago. And Ramananda Roy was a great assistant to the king, King Prataparudra. And so part of his job was he was a dance teacher. So the young girls, they dance in the Vedic tradition to like gopis before Krishna. And so as a dance teacher, he would teach them how to look enticing to the Lord. So in this particular Leela, of course, when Pradyumna Mishra, when he went there, he viewed from the relative. And the Mahaprabhu said, no, he is what you see, what may appear to be that, it's not. He's beyond craft. He's a transcendentalist. He was doing the dance instructing to teach that the Devidasis show that they want to attract Krishna. So that pose, but not from a mundane lust perspective. And of course, by the path of bhakti, you develop Krishna prema, which is different from lust or karma. Karma is self-interested. So what can be perceived or viewed as lust in the spiritual level is for the pleasure of the Supreme. It's perfect. So here it's conditional, what we think is as love, whereas there it's pure. So the ultimate love affair, or the object of love, if it's with God, it's perfect, it's pure, whereas here it's conditional. But from the external, Pradyumna Mishra, he saw in that particular way. So it is true that in the liberated position, There is no craft, there's no lust, no self-interest. But that level of guru, like Ramananda Roy, rare. But it's true that the path of bhakti will ultimately bring all of us to that purified stage where the 7 sins, the 7 deadly sins, they don't capture. You're not motivated, you're not contaminated. So I heard in a lecture this morning, Prabhupada said we start as pure crystal clear water, come to the material world, become muddied, and then through bhakti, we'll be filtered and again become pure clear water, which is the liberated position. So all tendency of exploitation, because you see, this can be perceived like, of course, in society, pedophilia and children, all these things, that's of course lust, and you go to jail, it's criminal, it's exploitation. So, but all of that through bhakti, all aspect of exploitation is cleaned and cleared. So Ramananda Roy was a liberated being. So Mahaprabhu had to correct the vision of Pradyumna Mishra. Like that. Hare Krishna.
Would anyone else like to read?
You're doing a great job, Madhuranitai.
Okay. Mad for Krishna. Then Pradyumna Mishra again went to see Ramananda Roy, and Ramananda began their conversation by saying, "Oh, on that day I could not oblige you, but again you have come to hear about Krishna. How fortunate I am." In the morning, Ramananda Roy began to speak, and when the afternoon came, still he was madly talking about Krishna. He completely forgot about eating, bathing, or anything else. He was mad, incessantly speaking of Krishna. Then when it was late, his servants came twice, thrice to ask him to take bath and eat his dinner, and finally he had to leave the talk and go. Then Pradyumna Mishra returned to Mahaprabhu and said, "Yes, I have heard from Ramananda Roy, and my heart is full from hearing about Krishna from him." Mahaprabhu himself had heard from Ramananda Roy, and he said, "Ramananda knows what is Krishna. What I taught to Rupa and Sanatan, I heard from Ramananda. It is mentioned that Mahaprabhu took Diksha initiation from Ishvara Puri. For preaching purposes, he took sannyas, the renounced order, from Keshava Bharati. And for entrance into the transcendental pastimes of Krishna and Vrindavan, he took Rag Marg initiation from Ramananda Roy. Of course, Ishvara Puri, Keshava Bharati, and Ramananda Roy never thought of themselves as the guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it was seen that Mahaprabhu treated Ramananda with some respect. It is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8:204, that if one wants to enter into the spontaneous devotion of Krishna's pastimes in Vraj, it is required that he take shelter of a confidential maidservant in conjugal mellow, Madhurya Rasa. Saki Vina e Lilaya Anyera Nahi Gati. They are masters of that situation. The whole storehouse of this Madhurya Lila is in the hands of those maidservants. Only they can give it to others. In Madhurya Ras, the Guru is seen in the form and spirit of a Saki, a maidservant of Radharani, Guru Rupa Saki. Ramananda Roy was Vishaka Saki, the right-hand personal attendant of Srimati Radharani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives us a hint of the necessity of approaching a confidential associate of Srimati Radharani when he says to Ramananda, "Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Sudra Keni Naya, Yei Krishna Tattva Veta Sei Guru Haya." Why do you shrink away from instructing me? I am learning so much from you. You are well versed in the affairs of Krishna, so you are Guru. Therefore, I am hearing from you. Whoever is the master of that storehouse of Krishna Lila, and whoever can distribute it, he is Guru of this, there is no doubt. The famous talks between Ramananda Roy and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took place on the banks of the Godavari River. The name Godavari is significant, for it indicates that place where the highest fulfillment of our spiritual senses was given. The fullest engagement of all our senses was announced there on the banks of the Godavari. Your senses are not to be rejected. If you can give up the spirit of exploitation and renunciation, then your senses will have their fulfillment with Krishna. Those tendencies bar your approach to Krishna. To properly approach Krishna, you will have to utilize your senses to the fullest extent. That was dealt with on the banks of the Godavari.
So just quick reflection, that the famous talk between Ramananda Roy and Mahaprabhu is called the Ramananda Samvad. It's very famous, and it's about the different positions of bhakti. And no doubt in the highest, we're told once you come out of exploitation, you become free. Then there are 5 relationships. And so Mahaprabhu takes Ramananda in the questioning of the highest objective of the soul, the greatest potential. And so in this discussion, it takes one through the different stages, but the stages will come in time through the proper process: Shraddha, faith, proper association, see the inspired side in the sacred arena always, bhajana kriya, proper practice, proper mood. Then the anartha, the cleansing will begin of the mountain of false ego, false construct. Once the gold the coal is cleared and the gold shines freely, you're free, liberated, then you'll be promoted into that realm with Radha Krishna. And so the acharyas in our line, the gurus in this particular disciplic succession, they are in the Madhura Leela conception. So we are being gradually purified and invited into a very intimate conception of relationship with the higher. And so these, the senses, senses mean Govinda, Godavari, is the river by which, or the place by which the senses can be engaged. So the senses, the sight, touch, taste, smell, hear, don't negate and go to the forest or to the mountain and avoid neti and avoid the Maya. Go into the world and see it as the ingredients to offer to Krishna. So utilize your senses in the positive way, not in the spirit of exploitation or renunciation, but now dedicate everything. Dedicate yourself, dedicate banana, dedicate everything in service to love, and then you'll be loved and you'll attain freedom in love, in a relationship with the divine love, if that makes sense. So not to run from the world. You stay in the world, but see it now from the perspective of reality, that everything for Krishna. It's his anyway. We only come in, we have temporary caretaking nature of everything, and then we leave. But when you offer everything to Krishna, including yourself, you'll be free. You'll be happy. You'll be in transcendental bliss. Yes. So, but any question or comment or reflection, feel free, especially while we're going through these points, because this is the chance, Yeah.
I want to just ask actually that where is it possible to draw the line with using it in your belief rather than using it as an excuse?
Okay, this is a very good point. This question was asked by Prabhupada this morning. I watched a lecture, 1975, Philadelphia, surrounded by reporters. And he's saying that, yes, it's true. If our own intelligence thinks, oh, we can utilize or we can adjust everything. So some intuitive feeling can come from the Chaitya Guru within, but then you have the reference of the Shastra and the Guru to reference, can I utilize this as a service? Because some things we may think we may be able to utilize, but actually they'll capture us. We won't be able to utilize. Now, this is very interesting because money, gold, is considered a void. But everyone is playing with money and gold. So this is a very thing that The Vedic literature says avoid money and gold because it can instigate and capture you through the Maya. So what's happening is we're being trained to now view money as Lakshmi, the goddess who serves Narayan. So try to utilize energy, money, in the service of the higher. See, money is the doorway to all the bad activities: cocaine, drug, alcohol, meat, all requiring gold. So through the direction of the expert divine transcendentalist and the Shastra, this is the beautiful thing with Bhakti. No speculation. Even the guru can't make things up. He also has to go back to the reference of the previous masters and Shastra. So this is the way, through Shastra and the Acharyas. We have great guidance and map.
I guess if people get there, they take a shortcut and they don't really go through all of this, they're just copying somebody else, then it becomes more of, then they don't have a justification. So it becomes just an excuse. But if you go through the entire process with understanding it, then possibly you can truly believe it, then it makes sense.
Yeah, if you approach the mountain of perfection as the great experts want you to approach under the divine guidance, you will attain the result, the desired result. But if you mix your own way from the matrix, it will dilute. And many traditions have done that. Just today, amazing, I just saw this. This is like some miracle. Finally, the Buddhists who promote the ahimsa, the Dalai Lama now made big declaration, all Buddhists should be vegetarian. Finally, the penny dropped. Of course, all Buddhists should be vegetarian or vegan, because Buddhism is ahimsa, non-violence philosophy. So this is an example of don't dilute the original teachings or change or make relative. Follow the expert, take the expert medicine and prescription, and the desired result of healing and transformation will come. So he made that declaration today. So that's a very good sign for Buddhism. It means, no doubt they're impersonalists, but their sattva will develop. And many Buddhists come to Bhakti because they realize, okay, is there anything beyond the light? And then we show them, yes, Krishna is the light, Krishna is the super soul, and God is person. So all traditions, spiritual religious systems, if they follow the non-violence and the vegan vegetarian lifestyle of honor the brothers and sisters in animal form, this will create revolution and more sattva on the planet. So yeah, that point, expert, follow the expert. Otherwise, imitationism and dilution will come. It's true. Many traditions, like Prabhupada always pointing out, Christians, thou shalt not kill, but everyone killing. You're Christian, but why are you killing? Didn't Moses say, thou shalt not kill? Oh, thou shalt not kill human. No, thou shalt not kill anything. I give you seed-bearing fruit, for you it shall be for food. This is the Genesis. So he told vegetarian, clear. But they twist and dilute and change, and then everything, the potency gets lost because karma, disharmony. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hey Anam, we haven't had the pleasure of hearing you read for a while, if you're feeling it or if everyone's in support. How do you feel, Anam? The ultimate goal of life.
I'm ready.
Thanks, sister.
The ultimate goal of life. There, in his famous conversations with Ramananda Rai, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began the approach to pure devotional service in a general and comprehensive way. This is recorded in the Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He asked Ramananda Rai, Prabhu kahe, pada shloka sadhyera nirnaya. What is the ultimate goal of life? I not only want to hear your statements, but also evidence from the scriptures. The answer came from Ramananda Raya. Raya kahe, swadharma charane Vishnu bhakti hai. Discharge your own duty without expecting anything in return. Swadharma means varnashram dharma, Vedic social stratification. you are posted in your present position by your previous karma. According to your present position, you have to discharge your duties on one condition. You must do them without remuneration. If you go on with your duties in Varnashram Dharma without any mundane aim, you can achieve Vishnu Bhakti, devotion to God. This is confirmed in the Vishnu Purana 3.8.9. Varnashramachara vata purushena paraha puman Vishnur aradhyate pantha nanya tattosha karanam. The only way to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is to worship him by properly executing one's prescribed duties in the social system of Varna and Ashram. Here, Ramananda Rai says that Vishnu Bhakti, adherence to the Lord, who is permeating everything, is the object and ultimate destination of our life. This is the Vasudeva conception. Everything is in him and he is everywhere. Ramananda explained that from our local interests, we must come to embrace the general interest, and that must reach the level of Vishnu consciousness, Vishnu Bhakti. Our submission to Vishnu, the internal spirit who is everywhere, is the object of life. We must connect with him and live accordingly, not a phenomenal life, but a spiritual life pertaining to a deeper, more subtle plane. Is that good? Okay, we have devotion mixed with desires. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is superficial, go deeper. Of course, it may be thought that actual theistic life begins from here, giving up the special local purpose and acting for a universal purpose, as already ordered and programmed in the Vedas and Upanishads. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is superficial, go deeper. Then Ramananda Rai said, Krishne karmarpan sarva sadhya sara. To offer the results of one activities to Krishna is the essence of all perfection. In Varnashram Dharma, it is the fashion that people are generally engaged in external activities and do not care to give up the fruits of their action. Even if they do, they have no direct consciousness of Vishnu or Krishna. They worship the goddess Durga, perform the Shraddha funeral ceremony, and execute so many other religious practices. Indirectly, it is ultimately connected with Vishnu. They may or may not know how, but the link is there. That is the general conception of Varnashram. But here, Ramananda says that it will be better to have direct consciousness that Krishna is the authority. All the results of whatever we do within the Varnashram social system must be given to Krishna. If we perform all our physical, social, national, and spiritual activities in Krishna consciousness, then we can approach the fulfillment of our goal in life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is superficial, go deeper. Then Ramananda Rai revealed new light, quoting the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharma parityajya mam ekam saranam vraj. Give up all your duties and just surrender to me. We must be particular with the object of life, not the external activities of Varnashram. Less importance should be given to the form of our activity. Whether I am a king, a Brahman, intellectual, or a worker does not matter. We may think, I have this sort of duty, I have that sort of duty, but that does not matter very much. We must have no attachment for that. The king may leave his kingdom and take to a Brahmanical life of renunciation and austerity. A Shudra may give up his labor, become a beggar, and chant the name of Krishna. A Brahman may give up his performance of sacrifice and become a mendicant. So we are to be particular about the aim of life, not the form of our duty. We must exclusively devote ourselves to the cause of the Lord, ignoring our present paraphernalia and duty.
So just quick recap. So there's the external, in India, they have Varna ashram. So some might think, sannyas ashram, this is superior position because it's vehicle for dedication. Or someone is in the garden and doing gardening work, and someone else is Brahminical, teaching nature. But if it's connected to Krishna, it's all transcendental, it's all purifying and perfect. So the Vaishnava tradition doesn't discriminate between the different varna, like the Harijan. In India, the Sudra class can't enter certain temples, like Puri. There was blockage. And Mahatma Gandhi, he said, why? The Harijan can come. So Mahaprabhu's conception is everyone can be given bhakti. There is no discrimination. It is equality from the spiritual perspective for all beings. So whether you're fallen, not fallen, intellectual, not intellectual, intelligent, less intelligent, if you take to bhakti, you will be empowered and awakened to the goal that you are. So it's not so much about the external, but the intent. You see, so taking to bhakti or advanced bhakti doesn't mean good intellect. You can be quite simple and not quote anything, but you may be very advanced by your sincere attempt. You may not even be able to read. All you do in your life is chant and serve Guru Gauranga, and you'll be more high than the person giving the lecture. Depends on consciousness. It's not always the form that shows the progress. So one time, this is an example, some big mahants, mahant means like gurus from another tradition, they came to Sri Chaitanya Saraswati to meet the guru, you know. So, and what happened was they came and it was a big festival to be arranged, but they got the time wrong. They came 3 hours early. There was a communication breakdown. Anyway, so Srila Sridhara Maharaj was preparing at 4 in the afternoon, but they came at 1. And at 1 o'clock, he was in his gamsha at the front of the mission, cleaning moss off the wall. And they walked past in the big procession, came 3 hours early. And he was there and he waved at them, not realizing who they were, because he's expecting the group to come at 4. And he's there cleaning and washing, looking like Sudra class, which is washerman class in India. They wash and clean the walls. And they came inside. Then one of the devotees went, "Oh, you come early." And they said, "We're looking for Guruji." And then he pointed. Guruji is there washing and cleaning the wall. And then they realized, and then from that lesson, everyone in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati realized that any service, any point in the bhakti field of this mission, it's all sacred. The guru will also clean the bathroom, the toilet. He'll do what he has. Everything is sacred. It's not some hierarchy that, the advanced one must be the one who sits meditating in the room and gives the class. No, the floor sweeper, washing pot. So all of this perspective is there in bhakti. Hare Krishna. My first 2 years, my first 2 years was pot washing and cleaning the temple every day, 7 days. And I'd wash the pots for 6-7 hours every day. And I remember being told, you keep doing, it'll wash your heart, it'll wash your heart. And so the desire that, I should be paid, I should get payment for this. They said, yes, you are. You're getting payment of your bhakti will increase. So it's true, like pot washing, giving the class, making the garland, spreading, it's all a great privilege, bhakti, connected with Krishna. Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj once, as the acharya of the mission, already 50 years in practice, the guru, thousands of disciples. Then one night at 10 o'clock, there was one toilet that blocked in the ladies' ashram. And the man that comes to clean the blocking of the toilet, he couldn't come because it was late. So His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Sunna Govinda Maharaj, went himself into that ladies' ashram with his own hand, cleared everything for the service of his students and disciples and the ladies. Then after coming out, washed, showered, next day, on the asana, giving lecture. That's acharya, means one who teaches by example. sometimes he would tell that story and laugh because no one would come forward to do that service, to put the hand inside. So, but for the service of the devotees, he did that. Prabhupada also did many things for his students, many, many things. We're so blessed that we have these great teachers guiding us, Hare Krishna.
I would also say we're blessed to have you guiding us as well.
If I have any qualification, it's that I'm trying to reflect only their teaching, their conception, their mood, as best as I can. As best as I can. Gurudev, he said once, just try. In that trying, maybe you'll get some qualification. So I'm trying. And you're trying because you're listening to the trying. So no doubt you'll also get some benefit. Because you're hearing what I heard from my master, you're hearing that. So I know it's helped me, it pulled me and is transforming. So I know that it will transform anyone. There are so many cases. We've seen even, Srila Sridhara Maharaj said, even man killer can be transformed. Man killer. In India, many man killers, because they don't say murderer. Sometimes they say man killers. They came as young men from gangster, dacoit. This word dacoit in India is very common. And they came and they got transformed. They left the life of killing and dacoitry and transformed, So it is true when, like the Christ, that level can purify the conditioning, the karma, the sin. Jagai Madai also transformed. Many demons became transformed. Because it's the false construct, it's the dream. So Al Capone, there's still chance, Maha Mantra, it's coming, it's gonna come. It will spread more and more. This is only the beginning, 65, 77, 77, 88, 88. 2010. It's only just warming up. It's coming. It's predicted. So we'll see. Even in our lifetime, Gurudev said, you'll see many things, miraculous things. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Knowledge and devotion. Shall I take a couple pages? Thanks, Anam. Knowledge and devotion. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is also superficial. Go ahead, deeper. Then Ramananda, is that the right way to say it with the accents? Ramananda.
Yeah, Ramananda, yeah.
Then Ramananda Roy explained, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, devotional service mixed with knowledge, by quoting from the Bhagavad Gita, 1854, where Krishna says, Brahma Bhutaha Prashanatma na Shochati na Kankshati Sama Sarvasu Bhutasu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. One who has come to the stage of identifying himself with spirit above matter has nothing to do with this mundane world. Any loss or gain in this mundane world is of no use to him. He is spirit. His prospect is in the world of soul, and he has nothing to do with this material world, whether it is laudable or blamable. He is already settled in the consciousness that he is soul proper and has nothing to do with matter, so within himself he feels satisfaction. He is Atmarama, self-content. He neither mourns nor aspires for anything. If something is lost, does he mourn? No. He thinks there is nothing. It is only matter. And when something is gained, he is not overly cheerful because it is only matter. It is unnecessary and unimportant. Now, true devotional service can begin. His soul can begin living in the spiritual plane with a pure serving attitude unmixed with any mundane aspiration. When one attains the spiritual platform, he gets the opportunity to practice a higher type of service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "This is also superficial. Such a person is only on the verge of devotional service. He has no substantial touch of devotion. He has not entered the domain of bhakti. He is just waiting in the marginal position at the door. He may attain bhakti, but he has not yet achieved it. His negative forces are finished, but still he is just at the door. He has not yet entered. He may enter, he may not enter. From there, if he gets anything, it will be pure, but he is still at the door."
So this is the liberation, you see, when you're free from the negative side, you're at the point ready to enter to the lila. So at this point, this is called Svarup Siddhi. Svarup Siddhi means you're free from the matrix, but you haven't entered into the arena of the position of your identity and pastime. So now Mahaprabhu saying, go deeper, and then the next revelation will be shown. So this is called Svarup Siddhi. The next stage, now called Vashtu Siddhi, means being placed in spiritual identity. Because once you enter to the lila and spiritual identity, you never can come out to the matrix. You're free forever, dancing with Krishna. You're in divine ecstasy forever. So this next point is beyond spirit, go deep.
I really,
So you're free from the mix, because it is true, many stages you have devotion, but it's mixed with some motive while in the matrix. You still have some mix. But once you get free of the mix and it's all for the upper, all for the glory of love, there's no agenda, then you'll go to the higher stage of bhakti. It's true. But Mahamantra, Prasadam, Guru Vaishnav Seva, Shastra, all of this service we're doing here is part of that cleansing and adjusting to this next stage.
Is it just me, or does that seem really exciting? Like, what a world.
Oh,
It's so exciting. Like, even just listening to it, it's just so, like, it feels freeing just to think about it. I mean, fine, we're not there yet, but
we're on our way, definitely.
It's really nice.
Yeah. By the grace of the great divine captains, it's coming. Prabhupada used to say, you chant Mahamantra, you'll see the transformation. You will be promoted. Have faith. Be patient, but it's coming. And it is true, the West. My feeling, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, 28, 29 years already, 34 years for me. Many of us, previous lives, no doubt, many of you have traveled, but patience, you will evolve. You will gradually come to a higher state. And what was once anchoring you and holding you, it will release from you, I shall be released, It's a Bob Dylan song. I shall be released. By the mercy of love, I shall be released. Exciting adventure. Soul adventurer, soul rebel, soul adventurer. So, Ramananda Roy.
I'm happy to take the next little bit. Okay. Beyond spirit, go deeper. Ramananda Roy then said, Jnani prayasham udapashya namanta iva. It is a very difficult thing to cross the charm of knowledge. We think, I want to understand everything first, and then I shall act. Calculation and an underlying suspicion is there. Before we act, we want to know everything fully. Only then will we risk our capital. The ego, the I, is very strong, and he wants to have an account of his loss and gain. He thinks, I am the master, the key is in my hand, I want to test everything, I want to know it all. I know what is good for me. So we think ourselves masters, not servants, and from the position of a master, we make our inquiry.
But this calculating mentality must be given up if we at all want to enter into the domain of the Lord, where everything is superior to us. No one there will care to come to us with an explanation, thinking that we are their master. They will not reassure us by saying, yes, there will be no loss, your gain will be big. We may think, I'm an independent, separate entity, so in my account there must be no loss. I must stand here with my head erect, but that won't do. We are to go there as slaves, not masters. That sort of mentality is necessary. We must bow down our heads, not that with our heads erect we will march over everything, but everything there is superior in quality to us. Divine.
Maharaj, and sorry to interrupt. Can I just jump in with just like a fleeting thought
Yes,
about it?
Yeah.
It's interesting, like how it says we think ourselves masters, not servants, and like how even just the act of like coming into adulthood and maturing and things like that, and just developing your spirituality, it's like you're trying to like master yourself and not regain, but claim like some kind of like power in your life, just from that personal development point of view, and like maybe feeling like, oh, all these other entities and authorities have controlled me up until this point, and you're trying to reclaim power and autonomy and all of this sort of sense of self. And then like as you mature in the spiritual path, it's like, okay, now give that up. That's not everything. Like it gives you power for a time when it's probably important. Does that make sense? And it's not
totally. This is the mixed knowledge, the mixed stage. Because once you realize that, you see, even the master who's posing as the master is a full slave to love. You see, this is why the analogy, love really has to drive the bus. Anyone attempting to get behind that wheel, student or master, they'll be plugged back to the matrix. You see, it's surrendered to love. But the thing is, we're learning you can trust in that. Trust to serve love. Be a slave to love. Because if you're a slave to love, love will give you everything. So we always want to control, because in the matrix you have to, because no one is worthy to surrender to except God, except love. So the matrix, we're all suspicious. Everywhere suspicion. It's suspicious realm. And that's why when Krishna comes, he says, no, you surrender to me. Only Krishna can say that, because he is love. He is the source. So we're learning to trust and believe. And as we get closer to Krishna and make some surrender, like even this, coming to a book club to hear about Krishna is a type of surrender. You take one step to him, he'll take 100 toward you. And you'll realize that the approach to love, that love is perfect to drive the bus. And the master, the teachers that are also slaves of love, they act as like prefects on the bus. They're also passengers, but they lovingly want to keep everyone on the bus and in a proper mood of surrender and movement to serve. Who's driving the bus? Radha Krishna, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda. So it's true, this in the world we want to master and control and calculate. But spiritual life, real spiritual life, means giving up calculation and trusting. And this is why this level of master, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhara, Srila Govinda Maharaj, this is super, this is high level. You can fully trust. And you'll see, if you follow their instruction, follow the guidance, transformation will be swift, rapid. You will be like mouth open and head swirling, like this is the type of reaction and result. And there were, like in the 1970s, many cases, devotees would come into the arena, the field of Prabhupada, like ate a burger an hour before with the wife, the kids, and completely in the American dream, 1.5 hours with His Divine Grace, sitting at the back of the audience, and then it like, ding, that's it. We're joining the Hari Bolos. We're joining up with the Hare Krishnas. This is it. Whatever this man has said, whatever I'm feeling here, this is off the Richter scale. I'm rolling up. That happened left, right, and center. So the power of love, it will conquer worlds. It is conquering worlds as we speak. These great heavyweight mystics, there are many traveling through many systems, earth planes, higher planes, lower planes, moving and just conquering with love. It's Prabhupada said actually the West will only come into that we are not yet understanding the ramification as yet, but in time you'll see the ramification, divine ramification that's coming. Even my own life, it's how was this possible? How we are here? I've been played. You're being played also, but played by who? If you're being played by the divine player, perfect. So we don't want to be played by the Maya and the contracted lower the power, but to be played by divine love and be slave to love, that's perfect. Hare Krishna.
It's a good segue into our next section.
Divine slavery.
Slavery. So we have to enter into that transcendental land where even the earth, water, air, and whatever we will find is made of higher materials than we ourselves are made of. They are all guru and we are disciples. They are all masters and we are servants. We have to enter the land where everything is our master. We will have to submit. That will be our real qualification. What we will be ordered to do, we will have to do. We are not to exercise our brain so much there. The brain has no room there. They are all brainier than we. Our brain is unnecessary there. Only our hands are necessary. Menial labor is necessary there. Brain there is enough. We are to enter that land if we like. It is a land of slavery for us. So, we are to hatefully dismiss our brains, and taking only our hearts, we must approach and enter that land. We should think, I am as insignificant as a mosquito, just as Lord Brahma did when he went to Dwaraka to visit Lord Krishna. And it is not only for the time being, not that one will accept a humble attitude, finish his work and then come back. No, we will have to accept such an insignificant position eternally. Of course, we may expect to be educated about Krishna consciousness, how it is good, how it is great, how it is useful to us. We will be allowed pariprashna, honest inquiry. In the transcendental realm, everyone is our friend. They will come to help us, to make us understand that devotional service is beautiful and that Krishna consciousness is the best form of life. Our aspiration and purity of purpose is to be valued, not our external position. The recruiters from that side will consider our purity of purpose, not so much our present position and capacity. And although apparently it seems that we are going to be slaves, the result is just the opposite. If you can accept such an attitude of surrender and slavery, then he who can never be conquered will be conquered. Friends will come and help you. The sadhus will come and make you understand that we should become slaves, that Krishna likes his slaves very much. He is the master of slaves, and sometimes he wants to become the slave of his slaves. Gopi Bhartu Pada Kamalayor Dasa Dasa Nudasa. This is the key to success, and we can achieve the highest gain through this attitude. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Ramananda Roy that this is true. Yes, this is true. The unconquerable is conquered by surrender. We can capture him. I accept this as the beginning plane of divine love. By giving, we can get as much as we risk. As much as we risk to give ourselves, so much we can demand from that unconquerable infinite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I accept this as the beginning of Sudha Bhakti, pure devotional service, but go farther.
It's very deep, you know. So it's like the slave of love, purity. So now it's like go deeper, because now that you've surrendered, what will you do? Then there's servitorship, there's friendship, there's paternal, parental, and then lover beloved. So even in the spiritual sky, there are many stages of promotion. And even between here and the liberated position, you'll have to cross many suns and moons, many realms already to cross just to liberation, 7 upper planetary system. This is why in the bhakti field, or by the path of bhakti, you'll feel your consciousness sometimes changing, shifting, feeling some movement. So this is the potency. We're being drawn through the stages. So yoga, under the proper guidance of a self-realized soul, you'll feel many transcendental and have many mystical experiences. It's true. This is, when I sat before Srila Govinda Maharaj, many times feeling, sometimes a little overwhelmed, it's true. Then we would ground and come back into the field, and it's, sometimes we felt the whole universe moving around that field, and many mystical things. So now the science of rasa. Rasa means relationship of the different taste in perfection. But any questions and reflections there? This is very, quite hefty, deep aspects, this conversation with, this word, Gopaparda Kamala Dasa Dasa Anadas. The key to success is, I am the servant of the servant of the servant's servant. Yeah, so to serve the servant of love is also service to love. So Prabhu, the great masters are out serving the servant of the servant. So, Prabhupada, he would travel and he's serving the whole human race by wanting to bring them back to bhakti. So he's a servant of his own master, but he's serving his servant, so his own disciples, and giving them Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, the temple, the Thakur, the Dham, everything. Even how to wash, how to clean, everything. Krishna so Krishna is giving everything through the agent to train, guide us back home, back to Godhead, back to our potential, our perfection, back to the buried inner wealth that lays within us. So Maha Mantra unlocks the door in the basement of our heart and awakens the gold that we are. Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna.
The science of rasa. Ramananda Roy explained that from there, pure devotional service develops in a crude form, in a general way. And when it is more mature, it must take the shape of santa, neutrality, dasya, servitorship, sakya, friendship, vatsalya, paternal affection, and madhurya rasa, conjugal love. In santa rasa, there is adherence. Nistha, one thinks, I cannot withdraw myself from this consciousness of continuous submission to the truth. Neutrality develops into dasya rasa, the desire to do some service. When a devotee is not satisfied by only sitting, showing loyalty to the supreme authority, he wants to be utilized by him. He awaits the Lord's order, praying that the Lord may give him some engagement. When a devotee has such deep penetration that he wants to be utilized in any way by the Lord, that is known as dasya rasa, or devotion in the mood of service. Then there is sakya rasa, devotional service in friendship. God the friend. When in dasya rasa confidence is added to service, then it becomes a little superior. Generally, old servants who are faithful become confidential servants. So when the confidential stage is added to service, it becomes sakya rasa, or devotional service as a friend of the Lord. First, there is nistha, adherence, submission. Then the devotee wants to be utilized for his satisfaction. Then there is confidential utilization. And then it comes to friendly service, Sakya Rasa. In Vaikuntha, where Lord Narayan is served in calculative devotion, only Santa Rasa, Dasya Rasa, and half of Sakya Rasa are seen. Full confidence is not possible there. Awe, reverence, splendor, grandeur, pomp, apprehension, all these vanish when we develop a more confidential relationship with the Supreme Lord. At that time, the object of our worship or love changes in another way. Then from Vaikuntha, we feel attraction for Ayodhya, the divine abode of Lord Ramachandra, where there is neutrality, servitorship, and friendship with Vibhishana and Sugriva. There we can also trace Vatsalya Rasa, parental love of Godhead.
So in the spiritual sky, many Vaikuntha planets where you can have relationship of neutrality, servitorship, half of friendship, and many planets like that. So you have the same form as the supreme entity and you serve as servant and you're happily with in perfection in Vaikuntha. So the Goloka planet, or there are stages above Vaikuntha where you can have a relationship with Sita Ram. In India, everyone chanting Sita Ram Jaya, Sita Ram, Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman. So this Ayodhya, the Leela of Krishna as king, Ramachandra and Sita, then yeah, you can have this friendship, and trace of Vatsalya means parental. But the highest planet, which will go into explanation, you have all relationships plus the lover beloved, the most intimate, Goloka, Gopi, and like Radha Krishna. So this, it's showing the ontological stages of where the Bhakti Yoga prospect can take you. It's very sweet, very high. As Anam said, very exciting, the adventure, the possibility.
So we're coming up on 15 minutes, according to schedule, to the end of our group today. It's been a beautiful flow. So I guess we'll take a couple more pages and then questions and comments are always welcome. Krishna Kirtan or Madhurya Leela, would you like to read it all before we go tonight, or maybe another time? Up to you. You're so welcome. And I'll just ask you to unmute here. I'm just going to press. Yeah. There you are.
In Vatsalya Ras, confidence has developed to the peculiar stage in which the servitor thinks themselves promoted to the post of protecting the object of their veneration. Filial affection is also service. Although it seems that the parents are masters of the situation, controlling the Lord and their son, sometimes chastising and punishing him, this is a superficial view. If we can enter into the depths of their service, we shall find an incomparable love of a most peculiar type. On the service, they are engaged in punishing and rebuking the Lord. Underground, they are full of interest for the welfare of the object of their service. Vatsalya, or parental love of Godhead, is a peculiar type of divine love. We see a very light type of Vatsalya in Ayodhya, so it is almost ignored. Mathura, the Krishna conception. Oh, yeah, cool. All right. Okay. Rupa Goswami leaped from Vaikuntha to Mathura in one stride. In his Upadeshamrita, he writes, Vaikuntaj Janito Vara Marupuri Tatrapi Rasat Sabad. That's so. Mathura is superior to Vaikuntha because Lord Sri Krishna appeared there. It is there that everything is shown in a clear and substantial way. In Mathura, we find the Krishna conception of Godhead. In one stride, he has come from Vaikuntha to the Krishna conception. But Sanatana Goswami has filled up the gap. In his book Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he says that on the way to Mathura there is Ayodhya, the spiritual kingdom of Lord Ram. There we find Shakya and Vatsalya Ras. But Rupa Goswami goes to Mathura at once. He says, come to Mathura. Here you will find Shakya and Vatsalya Ras clearly visible. He has shown how Shakya Ras service is printed there. The devotees there are playing with Krishna, sometimes climbing on his shoulders, and perhaps sometimes even giving him a slap. But although they may mix with him in this way, their heart is full of a peculiar type of service attitude. That is a criterion. They may give up their lives 1,000 times to take a thorn out of his soul. They can sacrifice themselves 1,000 times for the slightest satisfaction of their friend. They consider him 1,000 times more valuable than their own life. In Vatsalya Ras also, the criterion is similar. For the slightest interest of the object of their veneration, they can give their lives millions of times. Such affection is found there. And then from Vatsalya, it progresses to conjugal love, Madhurya Ras, the all-comprehensive rasa, which includes adherence, service, friendly confidence, and perennial love. But the wholesale dedication of every atom of our existence for Krishna, Krishna's satisfaction, is found in Madhurya Ras, which includes all other rasas.
Yay. Perfect. So, neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parental, lover beloved. So the most intimate relationship, of course, lover beloved, but all other relationships found in that spiritual planet called Goloka Vrindavan. So this Maha Mantra that we're chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is coming from Goloka, descending from the spiritual planet of Radha Govinda. So this mantra will actually take us back, like a secret, like you have a radio to contact the alien spaceship. When you chant Maha Mantra, the beacon is sending the signal. So the spaceship is coming, and it will load us up on the magic bus and move us through the planes of consciousness, and ultimately we'll be taken there. And this is not for one or two, or it's for whoever chooses the chance to be unplugged and come out from the spiritual, from the Mayic matrix system to the land of freedom, love. But that Madhura Leela, it's not like the intimacy we know here, because it's without lust. There's no, it's not trading conception. That's why we're told it's revealed to us here in the early stages of awakening, but not to meditate too much, because we'll project, like I have girlfriend, I have boyfriend, it must be like that. It's not. It's way beyond. Because it's unconditional. It's of a pure, highly pure reciprocation with the Supreme Being. But still it's revealed and shown, but only as a point of reference. But through your sincerity, through your love, through your practice, it'll all be revealed, no? Gradually. And can be one time in Melbourne, one devotee, I know him, he asked Prabhupada how long it will take us to surrender to Krishna. Like one life, he goes, no, 1 minute, no, 1 second. Famous lecture. Can happen in 1 second if you just Give everything. But 1 minute, maybe 1 hour, maybe 1 day, 1 week, 1 life. But any approach, any attempt to practice, you are on your way to that position, that surrender. Srila Maharaj, he said generally lifetimes together, but still under the guidance of a very expert master, then it may, it may be shortened. You may get elevator system. So possible in 1 life, possible. But depends, you see, if you, like how much you're holding back. Krishna knows, Guru and Krishna knows actually. So, but they're always wanting to see us deepen and become ananya bhaktas, like unadulterated, to become pure. So we go from alloy, means mixed, to unalloy. Yeah, gradually.
Keshava Maharaj,
Yes. Do
you want to continue that?
No, it's alloy, unalloy.
I was just wondering, did you have a moment where you thought about holding back? Did you ever hold back? Did you think about it? Or was it just all this natural process of, the real thing, surrender? Yeah,
it's a process. But when I came as a young man, 16, 17, I was charmed, so charmed. I just couldn't. I was like, oh my God, the world doesn't know this exists. And I would chant the Maha Mantra, and I was with the devotees, and I'd feel so high. I was like, this is like, because, previously I'd taken acid and mushrooms and many things. And this was just, I was speechless and overwhelmed. So much so that I shaved my head and had a seeker before I even joined into the ashram. Because I was like, when I first came, I thought, this was my very first impression. I thought, these people that are appearing as Hare Krishnas, they're not human. They're actually alien in human form. And I thought, they're mixing amongst us, claiming to be Kiwis and Aussies and this and that, but they're alien from another higher dimension, and they're coming, and they're spreading this sound, and they're going to create a transformation here, like they're higher aliens coming to transform the earth. And when I went to the temple, I remember the first morning at the Mangalarti, the incense burning, and then it started. Samsara davana lalida loka tranaya karanya ganaganadvam. And the impact, I realized in that moment, this, whatever this chant is, it's eternal. And I feel eternal. It's almost like the walls dissolved, and this is it. And so it captured in the beginning, but then, gradually we become captured. But especially when I met Srila Govinda Maharaj, there was something I sensed in him that he was wanting, don't be afraid, come in. See, we calculate, we hold back, even my sannyas, how I'm here. What man thinks, okay, I'm going to jump into my sannyas, abandon the world, abandon woman, cuddles, relationship, baby, family, all my own sense of what I thought I needed. But it's everything is in bhakti. So it doesn't matter, sannyasi, householder, Krishna will charm and capture. Because all this that we pose, my house, my car, my baby, my wife, my girlfriend, it's all going to dissolve. So the knowledge, the wisdom, it was gradually capturing, as it's capturing all of us right now. That Krishna's coming for us. So we are all in that. So it's just, I'm sharing something, but it is true. When Srila Govinda Maharaj left in 2010, and I saw the conflict and politics and power play moving through the mission, I felt I have to try to embody or try to show the mood that it's unity, diversity, love. Love is the path. It's not power. It's not, don't divide us. Stay in the love. So and then I had a dream where Srila Maharaj, Govinda Maharaj's master, he came with the danda, and he said, you have to step up. You got to step in. Be brave. Don't be afraid, and die to live. So all chips in, prepare for battle, and we'll protect you, we'll help. And and then of course I entered the sannyas in 2012. And again, even who I got sannyas from, Trivakar Maharaj, he said, I had a dream. Govinda Maharaj also gave the danda to me to give to you. So many dreams, indications to do that. But everyone actually is sannyasi, because body, words, and consciousness, we're all offering. But this particular vehicle is expected 24/7. This vehicle means all in. But all other vehicles mean the same, but this particular vehicle it's expected. There's high standards set for the ashram, this ashram. And all other ashrams, and no matter which vehicle we move toward the infinite, if we're all attempting to follow the Master's great prescription, we will be captured and transformed. But it is true. I think this term, no one has ever used this term, the player playing the play. No guru, no acharya. This somehow or other descended. And I understand, like clay on the potter's wheel, that we are all being played to come in. So my journey is unique. Your journey, you'll see, like we say, we are forever changed. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, how you can share quickly. We have a few minutes, but how you came, how you got captured by Bhakti, because it's also a magical thing, how that happened in Wellington, the capital. Please share, Prabhu.
Just quickly, on the way to buy some satanic books on the occult, I bumped into Maharaj here as a young brahmachari. I rejected the offer of a book, but Madhurya Leader took the book. Easy Journey to Other Planets. And I ended up reading her book, and it just changed my life.
Yay!
That's it. Yeah, it changed my life, their book. And then, Maharaj was the first Hare Krishna guy I ever seen. Anyway, then I got the phone number in the back of the book, rang the temple. After getting home on mushrooms and everything and completely wasted, my mates give me this Bhagavad Gita that had been sent in the mail to me from the Wellington temple. I hadn't even met them at all. And I read that book, and I was just made me bawl like a child. I just couldn't stop bawling every time you read. It was amazing. Just changed my life. Yeah, that's basically it. And that was there, maybe almost 30 years ago.
Jai Maharaj. Hare Krishna. We're all instruments for each other's, the domino effect, how each of us are. But it's from previous lives. Govinda Maharaj, he said, from previous life. We're taking up where we left off. It's true. And many from India, from Russia, from China, from many more to come. This is just the groundswell to more. I can feel it's on my journey. I felt like what Prabhupada gave in the 70s. It's only going to expand, and we're going to see more and more. So, but it is true. The reflection is the West has had to mature, the maturing of the essential, and but yeah, it's miraculous and so beautiful that we can journey with so many auspicious warriors and warrioresses on the path, Hare Krishna. Very mystical, this path. Very mystical. We have many friends. One of my best friends in Bhakti, Karuna Moy, he's from Tonga. And he first captured me, he said, My name was Rowan back then. He goes, "You're not the body," because his English wasn't so good. He was only recently off the boat from Tonga, and frizzy hair and like a wild man. But his heart, he was so captured by Bhakti, the gold of Tonga. He was just in fire, and he was telling me, "You're not the body. Chant this mantra, chant this mantra." I was so taken by him, Karuna Moy. And then I came to the ashram, and he's my lifelong friend, yeah.
Amazing.
Mm, mm.
So humbling to hear your story, Krishna Kirtan. Thanks so much for sharing. It's so personal. And it's so nice to hear how we all have our our introductory moment, and how enchanting and life-changing it is. It's such a potent moment when Bhakti descends in front of you through somebody else or through a book.
Yeah.
We all have that moment.
Absolutely.
Like
Cool.
mystical. This is the thing, that the mantra, the devotees, the guru, it's all part of the great awakening. It's the prasadam. The first time I had prasadam, I like, what is this? This gulab jamun and halava and samosa. I was just, my twin brother was with me, Tristan, who's now in Ireland, and he said, "I feel really high. Do they put drugs in the food?" I went, "I don't think so." It was so, the impact. Remember in Wellington, Krishna Kirtan Prabhu, like Ramachandra Sabjis, his prasadam was just, we used to meet every week in a blind society in a hall, and we used to have these kirtans, and this feeling in that hall when we chanted was mystical, very mystical. Amazing.
Yeah, that was our first visit to that blind society there. It was our first Sunday feast. And wow, man, that was just wow. First time seeing the deities. We didn't know what they were. All these guys are all heads and robes. For me, it was a deja vu. That's why I said, man, I know this stuff. I know this stuff, and it's so familiar to me. It was like, because I'd been doing the robe stuff, but in a negative way, and all the rituals, but all in a negative way. And here it was in the divine way. It was amazing and very attractive, very beautiful. I asked who these statues were, and they said it's God. And when we come in here, we bow down. So I bowed down. And never stopped from there. The prasadam, kirtan, it was just magic, man. As you know, just magic. Beautiful.
That gave me chills. That gave me like a full body chill. That's so cool. You knew it.
Bhakti Shakti, Panchatattvamakam Krishnam, Bhakta Rupa Svarupakam, Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam, Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. The Bhakti Shakti, the love, purifying. This like the worlds are conquered through this potency, this wave. Gurudev once said many waves are coming out from Navadvip, and those waves, sometimes very big waves, they will take out millions, and one session will be captured by love, divine love. Anyway, very fortunate that, Krishna, my Gurudev, has sent you all as friends to help, no doubt. So we can join up and assist and support and love holistically. Yeah, the great chants. Hare Krishna.
I'm so grateful as always for another beautiful class, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
And then tomorrow we have the midday, isn't it? Midday for me, 10 for you, 10 for you, 12 for me, 4 for America.
Yeah. 11 for Sudishan.
11 for Sudishan.
Really?
Yeah.
So, oh no, 9.
9 for Sudishan, 10 for you, 12 for me.
12. Yeah, awesome. If you guys are like updates, we've got a couple of group chats running. So Maharaj, you might like to share with Madhura Leela and Krishna Kirtan,
Hare Krishna.
or just update personally. But we
Yeah.
gather like 5 times a week. Well, at least you are instigating through 5 times a week.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Group
then also
session.
one-on-ones. That's, I'm always happy. I spoke today, yesterday with Andrew, and then I spoke with Alicia today, and then tomorrow with Cody, and then also tomorrow Harrison, Elisa. So yeah, always, because the one-on-ones are good, because then you can share freely anything, everything, your own view, perspective. But it is very important to read the literature. This is the darshan. So what Srila Maharaj was expressing in the 80s to those gurus. See, he was giving this here to gurus of the Western movement. So this is high-level conception, and we're getting that chance. It's non-different. The time is eternal in this level. So we're getting that darshan of that wisdom. And the effect that it had on them, it's having it on us as we speak. No doubt. Beautiful.
We meet again.
Yay.
Big love, everybody. So
Yeah,
nice to be
big
with you
hugs.
all. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.
Dandavats.
Yeah.
Dandavats, everyone.
Dandavats.
Big hugs, lots of love.
Jai Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna.